Mission Milano would make a really good Chinese New Year movie, if you know what I mean. Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Parker Fennelly, and this is my review of Mission Milano. I was lucky enough to attend the premiere of Mission Milano. It was held in a mall, which is not unusual. What was unusual was the location of the mall, Chunwan. Chunwan is located in the New Territories. I didn't hear much Cantonese being spoken in the crowd at the premiere. A lot of the residents of Chunwan are apparently new immigrants from China. This movie is very obviously made for China. See? Wang Jing knows what his audience wants, and he gives it to them. I'm not his intended audience, and if you're watching this review, you're not either. His audience wants to be distracted, not to think. There's not a lot to think about in Mission Milano. There's no logical or scientific reason for Michelle Hu to strip down to a bathing suit and jump into, and more importantly climb out of, a swimming pool. Except that it's a Wang Jing movie. There's no need for these and other breasts to later play such a prominent role in the story, except that it's a Wang Jing movie. Why does Andy Lau's character have the same Chinese name as Sammo Hung? Why does his assistant share a name with Fan Bingbing? Why does his assistant have an afro? Why would you name your criminal syndicate K-Max? Why would you name your syndicate at all? Why is the security camera footage that some of the characters look at, in fact, footage from the movie itself? Why are these two women even in this movie? But then, why would you ask these questions? Because the answer 9 times out of 8 will be, it's a Wang Jing movie. Which also explains why these two women are in the movie. Mission Milano isn't a good movie. It's a good Wang Jing movie. Like I said, I saw this at a premiere screening, surrounded by people who, like me, didn't pay to see the film. And we were in a cinema, so it was dark enough that nobody would see you not enjoying the film if that's what you did. But even that audience laughed at all the times they were expected to. Mission Milano is interesting for a number of reasons. It does feature scenes shot on location in the titular city, and on a technical level you can't really complain about the movie. It looks nice enough within its budgetary constraints, and like other Wang Jing movies, you can never say that it drags. There were some things that did honestly make me laugh in Mission Milano. Chief among them, a scene in which Wang Cholam gets humiliated. I could watch that on a loop. Andy Lau caricatures himself, and I have to admit it was kind of interesting to see him being the comic relief in a movie. Mission Milano isn't great cinema, but it was never really intended to be. It isn't trying to compare itself to Mission Impossible or The Fast and the Furious or any of the other movies that it shamelessly recycles. It's also not attempting to compete with them. Like I said, this is a Wang Jing movie made for a China audience, and you have to really engage with it on that level. And speaking of recycling in Chinese New Year movies, anybody who saw From Vegas to Macau 3 will recognize some of the ammunition crates and missiles that you see in Mission Milano. Nobody could say that Wang Jing isn't environment friendly. Like I said, Mission Milano's not a great film, but you have to kind of take into account who it was made for, and I guess who it was made by. But don't worry, it'll remind you a lot. So even if Mission Milano isn't going to make my top 5 of the year, or top 10, if you go into Mission Milano with the right mindset, you just might enjoy it. You can go see it in the cinema, or you could wait until it comes out on home video. Either way, don't steal this movie, or any others. When it gets released to home video, I'll update the description with a link where you could buy a Blu-ray or DVD. If you enjoyed my review, please let me know. If you didn't, please let me know. Just make sure that you use good grammar. If you enjoyed the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm actually in this movie very briefly. I'm also in the trailer even more briefly. I've made a bonus video describing that experience. No matter what you or I or anybody else thinks of this movie, the people who made it worked really hard and did a lot of great work, and they were a lot of fun to work with. And so I want to take a moment and acknowledge their effort. Especially the guy in the green screen suit.